Popcorn Junkies, yay!
Hey!
Hey, yay!
So we're here to review Cruella.
Cruella,
The
who
new
would have
film
thought?
that's being simulcast at the cinema and on Disney+. So the first thing I'm going to say, before we say anything about this film, is go and see it at the cinema.
Yes.
Disney still get their money, so it's not a problem for Disney.
Yes.
But the theatres, cinemas keep going, and I have to confess, you know, any visuals, regardless of what you think of a film, are that much better when they're writ large, on
In the
a great big
dark.
screen, in the dark, with complete strangers,
Yeah.
annoying the pants off you, which
Yeah.
they were today.
Yeah.
So this is Cruella. It's the new film from Disney. It's essentially Cruella de Vil's origin story.
Yes.
The wonderfully malevolent character from 101 Dalmatians, which I have to confess was one of the characters that really stuck with me as a child. She really scared me.
Really?
She really scared me.
Would that have been Glenn Close playing her? I can't
No,
remember.
when I was a child, it was an animated film.
Oh, an animated film,
Yeah,
yes,
the
of course.
original Disney
Oh
film.
my goodness.
So tell us the genesis of the story itself is from who?
Dodie Smith.
Right.
101 Dalmatians,
Yeah.
the first book. And
Is it considered a great work of literary merit?
it's considered enough. Dodie Smith herself was a good writer.
Oh, right, okay,
but then
cool.
it's considered enough of a classic to certainly get.
Yeah.
That's why I asked if she would have got the money for it.
Yeah, we're asking that question because my mum's a librarian, or was a librarian,
Sorry.
and it's always interesting. Okay, so this is Cruella. It stars Emma Stone as the eponymous heroine, who is also starring opposite Emma Thompson. It also features Mark Strong, and it also has Paul Walter Hauser and Joel Fry as the sort of, you know, the two sort of down at heel kind of
Which
helpers.
is which?
Paul Walter Hauser is the larger chap.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
It's directed, interestingly, by Craig Gillespie, who I can see why Paul Walter Hauser was cast, because he directed I, Tonya. And if you think about that, there's quite a few similarities there. These sort of malevolent females sort of fighting it out between themselves, a mother-daughter situation.
I
you
suppose,
can think of I, Tonya,
okay.
It was the mother versus the daughter, wasn't it?
I didn't know it was the origin story. I don't
did
know
you
what
think
I
it
thought
was?
it was. I don't know. I just thought it was a caper,
Oh, I see.
without it being sort of
Oh,
specifically
right, you
about
didn't-
how
you,
she.
So you weren't thinking in terms of how
No.
to slot it in. I mean,
To the point where, as I said to you, and I feel a bit bad about confessing this, Subs,
Right.
is that when the Dalmatians come on,
Right.
I thought, why are they Dalmatians? But I hadn't gone that far.
And we're going to do something slightly different on this review. Yeah, we're going to do something slightly different.
Wow.
I'm going to share with you some of the headline thoughts from some of our major reviewers in this country. The Guardian have described it as extremely entertaining, but the Times called it messy, flabby, and confused. BBC Culture said there's something hollow at the film centre and that it has a lukewarm style over substance with a narrative that's not as bold as its design. So I'm just going to leave those thoughts percolating through your head.
Okay.
When I saw the trailer, let's do anticipation. Did you see the trailer?
I saw the trailer in the cinema.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, me and Maddie were really smitten with the idea that this might be a sort of female version of Joker. But I thought we were going to get down and dirty and really grimy.
Yeah. I thought, yes.
Did you?
Yes. Maybe not as intense as the
Right.
Joker, but yes.
Were you looking forward to it? I mean, because I'd have thought for you this is a stroll through. It's set within 60s, swinging 60s.
Well, it's
70s
so
London.
much set then, and the soundtrack was pure my soundtrack. Every record that they played was me. I love Emma Stone.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it was Emma Stone that
Emma Stone
swung.
is a big pull, isn't
that
she?
swung
I'm an
it for
enormous
me.
Emma Stone fan. I was trying to think, though, what the last thing I saw her in was, and it was The
La
Favourite.
La Land. Oh, The Favourite.
Well, La La Land is an obvious one, but The Favourite, she was very good in The Favourite.
She was.
Yeah, she's very, I mean, it was a very strong cast of women. I was a big fan of Emma Stone since Birdman.
Oh,
In
gosh,
which she
yes.
had that standout monologue.
Yeah,
She was
yeah, yeah,
absolutely
yeah,
brilliant. So I was up for this. And then the trailer, I thought Emma Thompson looked really good. How did you think it started? How did you settle in?
Yeah, I'm always very slightly nervous when you're with the children and the children are acting their socks off. In this case, children and dogs.
Yes, it's a kind of regular trope, isn't it? That you have they do this 10-minute, 15-minute sort of prologue.
Yeah.
Which is child actors' moments, isn't it?
It
In
is.
every country, well, certainly in this country, it's the 15 minutes in a film where all the child actors in the UK are all desperately auditioning.
I was just going to say.
all thinking, "This is it. This is my moment. I can be the young Cruella."
No, I was quite willing to go with it, so how
It starts with a gasp out loud moment,
Yes.
doesn't it?
You mean where she's... Is this a spoiler?
Well, it happens very early at the beginning of the
Yeah.
film. We will put spoiler alert up, so there is a spoiler coming, so please don't be cross.
You mean where her mother is thrown over the balcony?
Where Emma Stone, so Cruella, who at this point is called Estella.
Estella.
So we establish that she's called Estella, but we also
Very
establish that she
confusing.
has a sort of second personality, which is her naughty self, which is Cruella. And a sort of Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing, I think there. Again, sort of really driven home by the kind of duotone, black, white, yin, yang, two halves of the same whole and all that malarkey.
Yeah.
So that was it's all very neat. It's very neat stylistically. So yeah, Cruella's mum is essentially chased off a cliff edge by Dalmatians.
By CGI, very heavily CGI
I thought
Dalmatians.
the CGI of the Dalmatians
sorry,
was
but-
diabolical.
I know. I mean, if the other dogs were CGI'd, and I'm sure they were, they weren't as obvious as
No,
the
they
Dalmatians.
were very well
Slavering.
Yeah, also their mouths were a bit sort of, their heads were a bit truncated.
Everything, even their
They
bodies
a
were.
bit like that.
Yeah.
It didn't quite work. I don't know.
No. Sorry,
and
we're
also,
going
you
on
made a
about
very valid
Dalmatians.
point that Dalmatians aren't aggressive animals.
No, they're the least aggressive. That's why they used to run along by.
So we have this sort of origin story. The young Cruella's mum hurled off a cliff, and really it then becomes about the young Cruella kind of, rags to riches. She's now an orphanette, and she's got to kind of clamber in the ranks of, and she wants to work in Liberty, though she meets these two homeless boys who grow up into the characters that will be alongside her for the rest of
Very much
eternity.
sort of Oliver Twistish, wasn't it?
Very
Like,
Oliver Twisty.
they come and they talk. They seem to have Cockney accents at that point. I
Yeah,
don't know if
Jasper
they-
and Horace.
Yeah, and they come and sit round the fountain. It was all set in Regent's Park, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I felt at that point that the auditioning of British Kids had reached its
Had
peak
gone-
in this film already, didn't you?
Had gone a bit. Yeah, no,
Bit
absolutely.
There's a bit of awkward moments around the fountain. And I was just a
Yeah,
bit,
don't
oh,
forget
God.
though, before her mother went over the cliff at the
Yes.
very beginning, there is a jewel.
There is a
Because
jewel.
the whole of the rest of the
There's a
film
necklace.
almost rests on
pivots
the
around this
necklace.
bloody necklace.
I mean, very soon, let's cut on
To
a
the
bit,
chase.
is that we meet who I think, and I think a few of us thought who went to see it, was the star of the show, who's Emma Thompson.
Emma Thompson, who's the Baroness, basically this incredibly influential fashion designer, head of a fashion house on Covent Garden, next to Liberty, comes swanning into Liberty, where Cruella has managed to get a job illegally, essentially, or get by breaking the rules.
Yeah.
Because her and her two mates, Horace and Horace and Jasper,
Yeah.
have got a trade in kind of breaking into places, pickpocketing, and all that kind of stuff. Rags
Yeah.
to riches in the
Yeah.
pure sense.
She's
So she bowls in, and
Yeah.
it's a moment. Talk to us about Emma Thompson in this.
yeah, well, she's channeling.
Cruella de Vil.
Yeah, but not just Cruella de Vil, the one from the fashion.
Oh, The Devil Wears Prada.
The Devil, which is you're channeling Meryl Streep
Yes.
to the nth degree,
Yeah.
and she brings it off amazingly. I mean, every shot of her is stunning, isn't it? Costume wise,
Yeah.
face wise. Her lines are brilliant because they're all so disparaging, and she delivers them absolutely perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that this film, all the evil in this film sits in Emma Thompson's character.
In
I mean,
her,
obviously
yeah.
it starts to bubble up in Cruella, but I have to say, I mean, Emma Thompson, for me, quite quickly became the guilty pleasure in this. I was waiting for it to come on screen all the time. It's about Cruella coming to terms with establishing herself as a fashion designer. She then discovers that maybe something very sort of untoward happened to who was her mother, and what conditions did those happen in, and essentially it ends up sort of pitting Cruella against the Baroness, played by Emma Thompson, and they become arch enemies, though the Baroness doesn't necessarily know that Estella is Cruella, because Estella is now working for the Baroness, and at night Estella turns into Cruella and turns up at all these parties.
You've explained why didn't work.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay. Why didn't it work?
Well, I don't know, but there was too much, and it wasn't told that quickly. If it had been told that quickly, it wouldn't have been as bad.
The first thing I have to say was you could have lopped off. It's 134 minutes. That's 2 hours, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
If you lopped off 15 minutes, I'd say it was still 15 minutes too long, which basically means 50 plus 15 means chop 30 minutes off, and it would be a much better film.
Yeah. I mean, I thought I was fully sort of into it at the beginning, and especially when she got to Liberty's, because she goes to Liberty's.
It's quite early on that, isn't it?
Yeah, and then she goes through the whole Liberty experience, and Liberty is held up as a huge sort of thing for her to go.
Did you like all the nostalgia though there?
Yes,
Were you taken back to the 60s? Did it do it
well, not so much my 60s, because obviously I was Mary Quant rather than whoever
Oh,
she
I
was supposed
see.
to be.
Right, okay. Was the painting of era? Was it real?
That was
it good?
really good, and the use of the music was absolutely my era, and the fact that they didn't have to sort of try and make Liberties look old because it's there, isn't it? I mean, I told Kiki it was still there. She didn't believe me.
I mean, the soundtrack in this film has to be given a special mention. I mean, you've got things like Nina Simone's "Feeling Good," Supertramp's "Bloody Well Right," Queen's "Stone Cold cold crazy. Blondie's one way or another. The Doors 5-1. ELO's Living Thing, and it clashes. Should I stay or should I? I mean,
every single big anthem for this was there.
But
one on top of the other.
But just on the music point, on many levels, music in a film like this sort of music is a huge strength, and it does. For me, it was the oil passing through the engine, keeping this going. And I felt a little bit like, and you'll understand why when we sum up, I felt a little like in post-production they thought we need to really hammer the music in here to keep this going.
Yes.
Because I'd say by about 15 minutes in, it was all getting a bit samey.
Yes.
We were having more Cruellas turning up to more balls or fashion shows, more Emma Thompson asking for more dresses from Estella, more balls with her turning up. And so it kind of became a bit laboured,
It really did.
Quickly.
And once you got to the point where, I mean, what they had to do at the beginning, and the reason it worked better at the beginning was they had to introduce us to all her flunkies, who were all succession, this sort of group of men, all ineffectual, who stand around her.
Emma Thompson.
Yeah, Emma Thompson. So that she can.
Mark Strong is one.
Yeah, but so that she can be disparaging, and she does that, and it works brilliantly,
so
and it works for far longer than you can honestly think it could.
Right to the end.
She does, doesn't she?
Does, yeah.
But once that's happened, and they still continue with the same sort of idea. I mean, I thought the production values in the sense of the costume.
Yeah.
Although it wasn't my sort of costume, I thought it was stunningly done, stunningly. And the camera was one of the cameras that goes round and round and round and round, and it looked amazing. But after about the third business of going round and round and round, you started to think, all right, I've got it, and
but the cynic in me knows that after a certain amount of moving around and around, it's no longer camera moving around, and a lot of it's happening in post-production and it's CGI.
Yes.
And actually you're thinking, well, like, that shot ain't going to work, and I'm not believing the shot. Now, look, two old fogies talking about a kid's film, okay? But it's a 12 certificate. Means youngest can go in. I was struggling very early on to know what most toddlers or even kids a bit younger than Kiki would get from this. What do you think they would get from it?
It's a difficult one, that, because I thought exactly the same in it. I thought all I can think that they'd get is the dogs, which
but there wasn't enough of them.
There wasn't enough, and I mean, maybe the CGI wouldn't
Wink
bother them.
Was lovely. The little
Wink,
Chihuahua
the little
with
mane, yeah. But I can't imagine what they would get from it. I can't.
No, because I mean,
because the eternal struggle between good and evil was not happening.
Well, here's a bigger problem. I think, in a way, Emma Stone. I wonder whether quite early on in the making of this, she got on the blower to her agent and said, "Hang on a minute, guys, I'm acting opposite the best villain in the world.
Yes.
I can't make myself villainous."
No.
And I felt for her actually as an actress. I thought the whole concept had given her essentially nowhere to go.
That's true.
Because if she fired up the villainy, she couldn't villainify Emma Thompson.
No, that's true.
Emma Thompson was manifesting everything that was absolutely horrendous and hideous about Cruella de Vil.
Yeah.
And it dawns on you later why that is. I literally think Emma Stone, in the script, in her characterization, and in her performance, didn't know where to take her beyond. So you're right. Even for a young audience, there wasn't enough of the dogs. There wasn't enough of Emma. What was Emma Stone? What exactly was she? What is Cruella here? I think if it did anything, it slightly diminished her malevolence in later films, or of her character.
Actually, yeah, that's true.
Because and also a couple of things that really annoyed me. She didn't smoke, and I think they pulled their punches on whether she actually wanted to kill Dalmatians and use their fur, because I thought we were going to go there. I thought this film was going to take us there.
No, it didn't take us.
But can any film ever take us to a place where they use Dalmatians?
I don't think they can, Mark.
In this, to quote The Guardian, snowflakey age.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of thought.
I always remember her with a great long cigarette holder.
Yeah, she did, but we don't know for sure that there was a cigarette at the end of it, do we? We just assumed.
Yeah, but there was in the animation.
Oh, there was in the animation.
Disney
Can't
said
go back to the
animation.
animation.
A cigarette in anything which is for under 13s. I mean, I don't know. I just find those sort of the edges, those bits missing.
I mean, in the old, surely the dogs and the villains, if you think of things like Home Alone, I mean, I'm not saying the kids of today are far more sophisticated than that, but they get their laughs and their whatever from the bumbling
Well, what did we think of the bumbling idiots?
Well, they weren't given anything to do.
I also think Paul Walter Hauser was struggling with not being given enough good one-liners.
No, he wasn't, and some of them you couldn't hear properly anyway.
Well, he was struggling a little bit with the Cockney accent.
He was.
Maddie at one point said it sounds like when she does her Cockney beer man.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah, exactly.
It's a bit of a Dalmatian thing going on. And there were moments where I felt he looked a little bit lost because he's an eminently funny actor. He can be great fun. I didn't think I thought Joel Fry was given a bit more to do. Or
the other one.
A bit more range.
Yeah, no, he had more range altogether. And one of the sort of key points of this film is because Emma Stone's given nowhere really to be evil.
Yeah.
She starts to be evil to her two partners
who've
been her
really
partners.
Confusing for me.
It really did because
it started to creak under the weight of that.
Yeah, because I thought somebody said, look, we can't carry on like this. So Emma Stone's character, who's now Cruella, has to do the whole thing of apologising to them, saying, I'm not really like this. Yeah. I'm only like this because my mother was thrown over the balcony. And then she finds out, can we really give away everything?
Spoiler alert!
Real spoiler alert, that her real mother is Emma Thompson.
At which point you go,
really?
Oh, okay, so...
You go... I never saw that one coming.
But at which point you go, well, Emma Thompson's infinitely more evil than Emma Stone's
She
character.
even smokes without a cigarette.
She doesn't have a cigarette. But that's how strong Emma Thompson's performance is. You would be forgiven her coming out going, did she smoke a cigarette? She almost did.
Yeah.
She had all the accoutrements. And I mean, this is well worth the cinema ticket just to relish Emma Thompson.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah.
And I think Emma Stone, who, availed herself as well as she could. Maddie's biggest disappointment was that we just didn't see any of that internal struggle. And
no.
That's less Emma. I don't personally think that's Emma Stone's fault. I think.
No, I don't.
I think they were asking the impossible of her to take a character because, as you rightly said, she had to try and stay good enough for her acolytes.
Yeah.
To stay with her.
Remain.
And also good enough for us to care about her.
Yeah. And also what they tried to do was make her little seem slightly bigger by bringing in Mark Strong. I mean, Mark Strong is an eminently brilliant actor who can do anything. He was given like about 4 lines, wasn't he?
I was shocked. And then there was that curious moment where they CGI'd some hair on his head. I mean, the CGI of the hair on his head was clearly done by the same CGI artist that did the jaws of the Dalmatians.
He suddenly looked 10, didn't he?
He looked odd. Well, it kind of truncated his head.
He hasn't looked like that since he was 10.
I bet he looked. I thought, God, I didn't even look like that when I had hair.
No.
Yeah.
It was a film that was full of odd moments. And the reason we're going on about the Emma Stone characters, we're all fans of Emma Stone. We've all seen what she can do in things like The Favourite and things like Birdman. No, that we know she can give all sorts of different messages on her face. Her face is so expressive.
Yeah.
And almost to the point of I think you made the point as we're coming out, I heard you talking to Maddie, that something about, in one of the scenes where towards the end when she's in front of the fountain and her eyes are her most expressive thing, you couldn't even see her eyes.
It was very dark, wasn't it?
It was very dark. And I
Why
felt...
was she talking to the fountain?
I don't really know, except that's where she first met the
I know,
Oliver
did she
Twist
throw the
people.
ashes in there? I mean, that was very odd. I mean, I felt like...
Where were the ashes?
It looked great. It looked sort of ravishing.
Ravishing is a good word.
In the way that anything about the fashion industry can be ravishing.
Yeah.
I just feel, again, going back to Two Old Fogies talking about a kids' film.
Yeah.
It's not really a kids' film, though.
No.
It's trying to aim at us and Maddie and Kiki's age, but falls short.
Yeah.
And it's...
The soundtrack is definitely aimed at me.
The soundtrack is absolutely
even more than you.
Even more than me.
So, like, old people. And I mean...
Emma Thompson's people.
Yeah, Emma Thompson's people. And even the fashion is like...
Emma Thompson's.
It is.
It's not even yours.
Even older than... I'm not saying Emma Thompson is, but the actual sort of design is from early Vogue. I think it was 1950s or 1940s or something.
Strange, because I so want this to work at the box office, and I want it to work for Disney, and I want it to work for Emma and Mark. But I don't know. There's something missing.
I mean, there's more than just missing. I'm starting to get really angry.
Okay, well, tell us about your anger.
In the sense that having established that the Dalmatians had to be there because they were there in the first one, and it's based on 101 Dalmatians. You know what I'm like for things being based on books. You could have made them into Dalmatians instead of grinning idiot faces, which we could see were CGI'd from the beginning.
They didn't use real Dalmatians.
And then they started, because you can't get a Dalmatian to growl if you kick it repeatedly.
But weirdly, in this film, the Dalmatians become Tottenham Hotspur fans.
Oh, that bit was funny. That bit was funny.
What's going
The
on
only
there?
time they could shut them up was when they were sitting in front of the TV. I thought
Yeah.
that was the one. That was their moment of stardom.
It was very strange. It was very, very strange. And there were about 6 endings.
Yeah, and
kept sort of rolling to a halt.
that's exactly what I felt, that there were a number of endings.
Yes.
And then somebody said,
Yeah.
no, let's go on. We're all having such
Yeah.
a great time. Everybody's loving it.
Yeah.
Let's carry
Let's
on.
carry on. Laugh out loud moment in the restaurant where Emma Thompson, maybe Emma Thompson came up with this. It was a bit of pure slapstick.
Yeah,
Waiter struggling with a bottle of champagne.
yeah.
Emma Thompson's character takes it and it opens into his face. I felt for the director and the actors in this, because I think what they probably all wanted to do was take it totally to the dark side.
Yeah.
But if you took it totally to the dark side, and I was thinking, how's Disney going to pull this off? Because you needed Emma Stone to have killed a dog. So there was that weird moment where Baroness Emma Thompson says, she's killed my dogs.
Yeah.
And I thought she had.
Oh, did you?
And I was hoping, I don't mean this in a horrible way, I was
No.
thinking from the plot perspective, I was thinking,
Yeah.
oh my God, she's done
Oh,
it.
she threatens that in the original, so I suppose.
Well, of course, but if she'd gone there,
Yeah.
that would have given it.
Well, also, didn't they say at some point they couldn't say whether she had or she hadn't? So they completely fudged that as an idea.
Right. Yeah,
I mean, you're right. They should have, if they were going to bring it into the plot, they should have just gone for it.
Well, okay, I'm going to give you what Kiki and Maddie's summary was and what their scores were
Yeah,
in
go on.
absentia.
In absent.
So Kiki said she really liked the look of it. She really loved the fashion. She loved the production design, which is what she's most interested in. She liked some of the soundtrack, but she said, Dad, ultimately it didn't work for her. And I think the reason Kiki's opinion really counts is she's almost your target demographic.
Yeah.
It's a 12 certificate.
Yeah.
She's quite a sophisticated 13-year-old. I think, you need to be working it with her. There were bits she liked, but she gave it a resounding 20 out of 100.
Right.
Maddie's a huge music fan, and she said, I loved the music, but she said, I felt it was too cynical. It was driving the story because it was baggy, like I was saying earlier, that it was kind of, they just were using they almost structured this film based on musical cue points.
Yeah, they did.
Musical style,
They almost
musical style,
brought
musical
another
style. And as
thing
you felt
in.
the new song coming in, you thought, right, we're going to race along with this.
Yeah,
sort of stuff.
yeah,
And
that's
she
true.
also gave it 20. out of
Okay.
100. Quite severe scores. On Rotten Tomatoes, it's averaging around 67 at the moment, which isn't a resounding success.
No.
What would you say and give it?
Well, I gave it more in the car now, based on the cynical response of the two
yes.
younger ones. I mean, maybe there was more to like for me because the music, I did like the music, and I did like her, Emma Thompson. But I would give it 50 out of 100, and nearly all of that goes to Emma Thompson.
Yeah. I think I'm inclined to agree with you. I think I'll give it 52, and I think you're right. I think it really is worth the ticket admission
For her. Yeah.
She really relishes it. There's one moment where she kicks a chair that accidentally hits a sort of underling or employee of hers.
Yeah.
And it's so brilliant the way she deals with people. She's just so
You got in my way.
You got in my way. I mean, she was so good. See, I likewise, I give it 50. I think I'm inclined to agree with the times here. Messy, flabby, and confused.
I was going to say who said that, because I agree with that.
And I just think, what a loss, what a shame.
And even in the end, the whole idea, and it looked fine in the trailer because we all know Cruella de Vil is
Yes.
part dark, part fair. But in the end, I not only got sick of it, but as she walked away, it looked like she'd got a monkey on her shoulder. I mean, it sort of looked like there was her head and she'd got this big white thing here. It was
right.
very
Must
weird. It's
take
almost
another-
like they gave up.
Oh, right. Well, we'll take another look at the end then and see if there's a monkey on it. Can you tell us if there's a monkey on it?
Well,
Cruella de Vil's
a
shoulder?
white puppy.
I didn't realise it was nice to find out a little bit of kind of, origin story detail that perhaps her name, I didn't realise her surname came from the car. Devil.
Yeah, that's right.
For more film and family fun, don't forget to click the subscribe button and make sure to click the bell to never miss an update.